Hello, good evening. It is Friday. It is Valentine's Day, and this is a Valentine's Day special. It is, of course, the start of your weekend. It is the Arsenal Women's Show. Of course, it is, as it always is on a Friday. We have got a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, we're going back to the FA Cup win last week, the draw for the quarterfinals. We'll talk about that. There's been an England squad announced, of course, Lionesses squad as well this week, ahead of the Nations League games. Quite a lot of Arsenal involvement in that. So we'll talk about that as well. We have also had a new contract for the captain. We've got a player coming back from injury. It's exciting times. And of course, it is North London Derby weekend. Wow. North London Derby. Tottenham are coming to the Emirates on Sunday. So we're going to look ahead to that game as well. Plus, of course, any comments, questions, or anything else that you want to add to the show, please drop them in the comments box and we will get going the other side of this. So just before we start today, we have got a message from a familiar face.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm sorry I can't be part of the show on Friday, as I'm flying on Friday evening to London, for the North London Derby, of course. So I'm here with a few videos, and I would like to give you my thoughts to everything what happened or what will happen.
So yeah, Andreas, of course, is on his way to London, of course, for the game this weekend. I've got a feeling that my screen is back to front. My video is back to front. I don't know why it's back to front. I don't know how to change it, actually. I've just realised it looks weird. There must be something I've done with my settings, mustn't there? There must be something. Oh, there you go. That's better, isn't it? We're on the right way now. Oh, look, that's much better, isn't it? Sorry if that was a bit disturbing for you. It was disturbing for me anyway. So, yeah, Andreas isn't here tonight. He is, as we speak, he is flying from Germany into London, of course, for the game on Sunday. Now, what that means is, of course, we're going to miss him in the show tonight. But the good news is he's going to have a vlog for us, isn't he? So that'll be something to look forward to, won't it, next week? When, probably Sunday evening, Monday, we'll get that out for you. So that's going to be good, isn't it? So, although obviously we miss him tonight, we have got some video clips from Andreas. And of course, we are going to get a great vlog as well, aren't we? Let's start with a few comments then, because we've got a few people with us already. Greg is with us as always. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. He says, if your partner says it's Valentine's, just tell them, you're showing your love to the women's team. Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? So this evening, Greg, I hope you've had a cracking week. Yeah, you've all had a good week indeed. Terry says, hit the like and subscribe button on your way in. Indeed, that's what you've got to do. Joe's with us as well. How you doing, Joe? Good to see you. That's Joe G. There is another Joe who comes in as well, just so we don't get confused with all the Joes, which is great, isn't it? It's good to see so many Joes in the show. Gratz with us as well. He says, hi there. I just run home from the pub, catching the Djurgården hockey game against Västerås, is it? Anyway, what are your thoughts about... we'll talk about the draw a bit later on. Absolutely, we will. Ags with us as well. We've got our Swedish contingent with us tonight. Fantastic as always. And Emerson's with us. What I do, my friend? Hope you are doing well. We've got Ange as well. Always good to see Ange with us. Quick visit. Yeah, we know. We understand your daughter's been poorly. I hope she's feeling a lot better. That's why Ange isn't with us tonight. Just in case you're wondering, she's not flying anywhere. She's just looking after her poorly daughter. So you're all the best, obviously, to Angie's daughter as well. So what better way can we start the show, really? Going back, of course, to last weekend, the FA Cup came back around. It was a match against London City Lionesses, and a difficult game it turned out to be. Now, we did mention on the show, didn't we, last week, that we never thought it was going to be a straightforward game. The London City Lionesses are a championship club, but not really when you look at the players that they've got, international players. And they made it very difficult for us, didn't they? One of the things that I really enjoyed about the game, apart from the fact that we won, was Taya Goldie's performance for the Lionesses. I thought she was fantastic. Now, yes, she had a point to prove, I'm sure, going out on loan. She wants to say, look, I'm ready. I'm here and I can do a job for your team, is what she was probably saying to Renee with that performance. But I thought she was brilliant. And that's good news, isn't it, going forward? It means hopefully next season she'll come back with us. And you can see that she's ready to stake a claim in the first team squad, because her performance was fantastic. And it wasn't just her, was it? I thought as a group, the London City Lionesses played really well. Yes, they maybe just came up short in the end, but obviously you would have expected that. They are still a championship team. And although they've got players with experience, WSL experience, international experience, as a group, as a collective, that they're maybe still lacking in certain areas. But it made you think that should they come up from the championship this season, they're certainly going to be competitive next season, aren't they? And they're going to give anyone a game. And they certainly gave us a game. It was tough, but we got through. And in the FA Cup, Andreas always says it, just about going through. And we got through. Yes, lots to improve, lots to work on, and I'm sure we will. But the most important thing is we are in the hat. We were in the hat for the quarter-final. Let's get some thoughts from Andreas, first of all, on that game.
Let's look back. Last weekend, FA Cup versus London City Lionesses, Arsenal 2, LCL 0. So we went through, and I think the only thing that counted in this game was that we win it and go through to the next round. As Tim Stillman said, this is a game, win it and then never think about it again. Yeah, there were a few surprises in the lineup. I think Jenna Nice-Wong in midfield is not the best idea. It's not her natural position, and so she didn't have the best debut. But let's give her a chance, and let's see how she plays when she comes in as a left back. Same for Katie Reed on right back. It's not her natural position. She has to earn minutes and learn. Was not her best game, but well, out of position, 18 years young. Give her the chance and give her the credit.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about, obviously, Jenna Nice-Wonga's debut. I was shocked when she was in midfield, I've got to be honest. Yes, the left-back position has been mentioned, that it's only quite a recent transition for her. But I don't know, you expect it, if you're making your debut in a new league, a new country, you've just come into a club, surely you want to be playing in the position that you're most natural in, that you've been playing in most recent games in. And maybe that was a mistake that Renee made. I felt a bit sorry for Jenna. She never got into the game. She was taking up some half-decent positions on the pitch, maybe wasn't getting the ball, didn't seem to be working. Now, afterwards, it was said, wasn't it, that it was already decided tactically to take her off at half-time to bring Leah Volti on. I don't know if that was the only reason. We certainly had a lot more control in midfield in the second half when Leah Volti came on. And I'm not blaming Jenna for that. I want to see her play left-back, see what she can do there. And she does need more time. It's difficult, isn't it, when you make a move to a new country and stuff like that. She's only really took part in training and she needs minutes on the pitch. So, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in not really her so much, but the position that she was asked to play, which I don't think brought the best out of her. And I say when you're new to a team, you need to start. You want to start hit the ground running, don't you? And unfortunately, she wasn't able to. And part of that's got to go on the manager, unfortunately. But overall, the Katie Reed thing's another one. She's been playing right back when she's played in the first team this season, so I suppose that's not so much of an issue, really. But what we want to see is, we've complained recently about Leslie Russo playing out of position. We're now seeing other players playing out of position. And to me, that's not a good sign when it comes to the manager. Square pegs in round holes, that kind of thing, isn't it? And, you just want to see, to get the best out of your players, they need to be playing in a position that they're most comfortable in. And you have to arrange your team around that, don't you? And if it means leaving one player out, like, it's almost like she doesn't want to leave Katie McCabe out of the team ever. She had to leave her out in the recent game because of suspension, but it's like she doesn't want to leave her out, so we'll just play someone else out of position. No, that's not how it works. If you want to bring Jenna Knight-Swanger in, play her at left back and leave Katie out for a game. Doesn't matter. Put her on the bench. It'd be fine. You can do that. We've got a squad. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with that aspect of it. And I don't think it helped the performance, especially in the first half. It was very flat, slow. We didn't seem to have much control of the game. And yeah, it wasn't fantastic. Yeah, the goal was nice, wasn't it? Leah Cadena's header to give us the lead, which was important because, they'd had a chance, didn't they, before? I think it was Jacobson had a big chance for them. And she had another chance later on when it was 1-0 to equalise. So, London City gave a good account of themselves. I thought they played well. And we were maybe not at our best. And I think those two things combined meant it was a tighter game than maybe it could have been. But it doesn't matter. As Andrea said there, yeah, if we get to the FA Cup final, we're not going to look back on this game and remember it. Well, whatever happens, we're not going to look back on this game at all, are we, really, and say, wow, do you remember the game against London City Lionesses in the FA Cup? No one's going to remember it. And it doesn't matter because we won. If we lose, people remember it then, but it's for the wrong reasons, isn't it? Anyway, that was Andreas giving his thoughts maybe on the team lineup and that. Let's have a listen to what he actually made of the performance and the game itself.
Okay, then, looking back to the game, a really nice goal from Cody, and the delivery from Kyra was fantastic. Once again, she shows how important she is with deliveries from crosses or set pieces. I think Kyra has grown in this season. She's an important player now, and fantastic delivery, and the header from Cody was excellent too. And don't forget London City Lionesses. Yeah, they are a championship team, but they are not a real championship team when you look at the names. Kosovare Aslani, Sofia Jakobsen, Saki Kumagai, world-class players, internationals, still internationals, not retired internationals, also still playing for the national team. So I think if LCL will get the promotion, then Michelle Kang, the owner, will invest a lot of money, and they will be a team that has a chance to stay in the WSL. So it's not a normal championship side, and good for us that we are through. And player of the match was Thea Goldie. Not our player of the match, but she's still an Arsenal player. It was good to see a good performance from Thea Goldie. Let's see what we will do with her when the loan is over at the end of the season. I read that LCL want to give her a permanent contract. Let's see. We are through to the next round, and let's discuss this in another clip.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Tag Goldie mentioned her. She was fantastic, wasn't she? Brilliant stuff there. Joe agrees there. She says, I think if LCL get promoted, I do think they'll give some of the WSL difficult games. No, I think they will, yeah. I think they've got experienced players that can play at that level. So I would say that out of all the recent teams that's got promoted, if it is them, then I would imagine they'll do enough to be able to survive. It's going to be interesting, actually, because some of the teams that maybe keep staying up because the promoted teams go back down, such as West Ham, etc., they're going to start to panic, aren't they? Because suddenly their chances of staying up is going to be reduced, because you'd imagine that the London City will do okay. They're not going to challenge for the top three quite yet, but they're certainly going to hold their own in the WSL. They've got to get promoted first, and it's not easy, is it? They're not top of the league. They do have a game in hand. I think they're second, aren't they, with a game in hand. So it's in their hands to a certain degree, but they've got work to do to get promoted. It's certainly not an easy league to get out of, is it, with just one team coming up? So, but I agree. Yeah, I agree with both of you. I do think if they do come up, they've shown enough against us that they can compete at that level. And yeah, I think a few teams will be getting a little bit nervy if they do come up. Some of the teams that struggle at the bottom every season and manage to survive. So we'll see. Joe says there, not everyone new can be like Foxy, hit the ground running. No, that's absolutely true. But again, when Foxy came in, she was playing in her natural position where she'd been playing. So it was easier for her to settle in straight away, I suppose. And Jenna wasn't. And I think that a little bit more difficult for her. But no, you're right. Some players take longer to settle in and stuff like that. And I'm not blaming Jenna, really. I mean, it was frustrating to see her have such a little impact. We were all looking forward to seeing her play. and it didn't quite work. But yeah, I mean, let's give her 5, 6, 7 games before we make any judgments on whether or not she's going to be a great player for us or not. It's far too early, isn't it? One game or half a game in a position that maybe isn't her strongest position. So yeah, you're right though. Not everyone can start like Foxy, and maybe she set the standard quite high now for new players coming in, especially Americans. We maybe expect similar from everybody else that we got from Foxy, and that isn't fair because you're right. Not everybody's going to come in and make that instant impact like she has. So yeah, that's a fair point. And yeah, let's just be patient. Yeah, be patient with her, and say give her a few more games and let's see how it goes. Terry says the problem hiring rookie managers. You all fell for the Arsenal PR. Well, I don't so much. From my point of view, and I think Andreas was the same, at the beginning, I thought temporary was the right thing for her. But I think it wasn't so much PR. I thought she proved herself with the results and the performances that we had, certainly in the run-up to Christmas. The team were brilliant. And I thought she gave the club no option other than to give her the job. And I'm quite happy that they did that. I'm still not quite sure the strategy behind it, why it took so long and all this kind of stuff. But the big tests are to come. She had an easy ride, really, with the games that we had overall. And now the big tests are to come. We failed 2 of them, losing to Chelsea, losing to City in the Cup. Let's see how the rest of the season pans out. And then we'll see where we are. But she's got a contract till the end of next season. And I think it gives her the summer to have a transfer window of her own. And let's see, like a full transfer window. I thought January was a little bit of a not much really was going on at the club. Seemed to not really wanting to spend much money at the minute. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it was just PR with Renee. I think it was the results that she got and the performances that the team produced. And I think that was the key. But is she going to be the right one long term to take us to those heights? I'm not 100% convinced now, but let's see. I'm prepared to give her that opportunity. She deserves it. She's earned it, hasn't she? Let's be honest. Rather than just bringing a manager in from somewhere else, hasn't necessarily deserved the chance at Arsenal. She's deserved the opportunity with what she did in her first 15 games, whatever it was, 14 games. So I'm not going to write her off just because we've had some difficult games and she's lost a couple. Let's see. We're still in the Champions League. We're still in the FA Cup. Lots to look forward to. Still battling for that top 3 place as well. So let's not make too many rash judgments on her. But yeah, I'm kind of starting to think that we maybe need an actual proper elite manager to take us to that next level. But let's see. It's Pink Toss, we say, doing good to see you. Hope you're well. Grat says, off to the pub again to catch the final conclusion of the hockey, but your stream will be in my ears. Well, as long as we're in your ears, my friend, that is all that matters, isn't it? It's what we like to see. Ryan's with us. He says, yes, good owner for London City Lionesses, and she has a few other teams she's involved in. Does she want to put some money into Arsenal? Well, yeah, someone needs to, don't they? Because our current owners don't seem to want to, do they? Joe says, yeah, London City has a game in hand. Yeah, I think they do, yeah. So if they win their game in hand, they would be top. Still a few games to play, of course. Plenty of time for other teams to catch them. But yeah, they've got a good chance, definitely. Terry says, still after the disappointment of last week, I hope you all went out and bought the 2 new merch drops. Yeah, to make you feel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the club are just mental, aren't they, with that? I can't believe what's going on, to be honest with you. But anyway, Joe says, I felt pain for her, Jenna. She looked a bit confused, but I think she'll find her fit. Yeah, I don't blame her, really. I don't think it's her fault necessarily. It was probably one of the least impressive debuts from any Arsenal player in recent memories, to be fair. But, at the end of the day, she's got to adjust and hopefully we'll see a much better from her. I'm sure we will. Terry says, everything is PR with Arsenal business. Yeah, you're right, it is. It is a lot of... We've got the best PR team in football, haven't we? There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, we haven't got the best owners or the best people involved in all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, following our victory against London City Lionesses, there was, of course, a draw for the quarterfinals. And it wasn't too bad for us, was it? Let's be honest. Liverpool at home, not the most glamorous of ties maybe, but we're at home. We've got a great chance to go through to the semi-final, and I suppose that's all we can hope for. It would have been nice if the draw had maybe worked out a little bit better. All the top 4 teams get home draws, avoiding each other. It's almost set up, isn't it, for the big 4, if you like, in the semi-final, which is probably what the competition wants, because it gets 2 massive games and it's going to be a big team in the final. You're pretty much guaranteed that, really. Okay, there could be a shock in the quarterfinal somewhere, but you're looking at the games. Aston Villa maybe against Manchester United is the one that stands out as being potentially one for a shock. But Man City, sorry, they're playing, aren't they? But other than that, you expect the top four to go through, and then it's going to be interesting semi-final, isn't it? Let's hope we can avoid Chelsea maybe. Although to be fair, I actually wouldn't mind playing Chelsea in semi-final if we're at home, go and beat them, and then we'll have slightly easier final against one of the Manchester clubs, won't we? But let's see how it works out. Obviously, Andreas gave his thoughts on the draw as well.
So the draw for the next FA Cup round was done, and we are at home against Liverpool. This will be played on 9th March, I think, as on the 8th, Saturday the 8th, Boreham Wood men are playing at home, and normally our cup games are in Boreham Wood at Meadow Park. So I suggest it will be the 9th of March, and fortunately the next week we are playing away at Everton, and then on 23rd of March again at home against Liverpool. So as I always said, in back-to-back games, no team wins two back-to-back games in a row. Fortunately, there is Liverpool, Everton, and then Liverpool again. So this rule will not apply, and we should be able to win both Liverpool games. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing the two Merseyside teams 3 games in a row, which is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it's a good draw from our perspective, I suppose. Being at home was the main thing, wasn't it? You know, whoever you play in the FA Cup, you get a home draw, you've got a big advantage, especially as it is likely to be played at Meadow Park. I've heard a few people saying, why can't it be at the Emirates? Because there's no Emirates game that particular weekend. Maybe because the short notice between selling tickets and all that kind of stuff to the game is probably the biggest reason. There's only going to be 2 or 3 weeks to sell tickets. They probably won't be able to sell enough tickets in that short space of time. And yeah, I think it's difficult to have a game at the Emirates at that short notice. I don't think it's really possible at this moment in time. I think when all the games are going to be there in the future, then they'll have plans in place for it. But I think at the moment, that's probably the biggest reason as to why it's not going to be played at the Emirates. And it is on the Sunday. It's been confirmed now, isn't it? I think it is on the Sunday at, is it 2 o'clock kickoff on the 9th. So, you know, it is what it is. And yeah, 3 games against the Merseyside teams in a row. And I suppose, you know, the fact that we're playing Liverpool at Meadow Park and then we're playing them at the Emirates, it's 2 different stadiums. So maybe that rule won't apply, will it, for that particular occasion? But we need to win both of those games anyway. We can't afford to look for excuses or, you know, any superstitions. We need to win the FA Cup game, obviously, to keep going in that competition, and we need to keep winning in the WSL, because that top 3 is not going to be easy, is it, to get? So yeah, let's try and win both of them. Greg says that she's meant to be an American international. Well, no, she's American international, and I think that it wasn't a great debut. But let's be prepared to give a little bit of time. You know, it was a tough game for her. Ryan says, just a fact, Jenna is quite short, 5'3". Is she the new tiny tank? Well, she didn't look much like a tiny tank, did she, against London City Lionesses? But you know, it is early days, so let's not make any judgments either way yet. Terry says, I wanted Chelsea. Really? You wanted Chelsea in a quarter-final? See, I wouldn't want to play them yet. Semi-final I'll be happy with, or the final. And I think the fact that the draw has worked out the way it is for us isn't actually a bad thing. I wouldn't have wanted Chelsea yet. If we, you know, having lost in the semi-final of the other cup, if we were to lose in the quarter-final, and let's face it, Chelsea are difficult to beat. I don't know. I would rather we can keep the season going a little bit longer domestically, stay in the FA Cup, and the best way to stay in the FA Cup is not to have to play Chelsea yet. But I'll have them in the semi-final if we're through, no problem at all. Let's do it. Vicky is with us. Are you actually Vicky Pelova? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Good to see if it is. Why do you think the attendances at the cup games are so low? Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. The midweek games, a lot of the midweek games, especially the Champions League group games and stuff, they're midweek. It's difficult, more difficult for people to come to. I think with the FA Cup games, it's Meadow Park. I think had they played them at the Emirates, it wouldn't have been a massive crowd for the Emirates, but I think it would have had more fans going if it was at the Emirates. And also as well, I think the opposition that we've played against are not the most, shall we say, glamorous teams that we've had to play in the FA Cup this season. It's been a good draw for us to be able to go through, but not the most glamorous of games, and not the game that's going to sell lots of tickets for her. So yeah, I think a combination of those two or three reasons is probably why the attendances are a bit lower. I mean, the Man City game in the semi-final, yeah, again, that was lower than it would have been had it been at the Emirates, but it is what it is. And the games at Meadow Park, they pick the games generally at the Meadow Park, don't they? That are probably not going to be the big sellers in general. So, but yeah, I think the midweek games, that's the reason there. And I think the opposition as well. I think if we played Chelsea in a cup game, if it was at Meadow Park, as we have done in the last couple of years, it sells out, doesn't it? So I think that's a part to play. And let's be honest, I think we have to remember that it's still quite new, isn't it? That this attendance boom in women's football, it's not something that's been around for a long time. And I think it's just going to take a little bit of time to everybody to adjust and adapt. And at the minute, I think people are picking and choosing the games they go to. Let's go to the big games at the Emirates a lot more than they may be thinking of going to the games, the technically smaller games at Meadow Park. And I think that plays a part as well. I think over a course of time, I think it will work out where the cup games are getting good crowds as well. But yeah, it may be a few reasons for that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and we're still getting decent crowds, aren't we? So, and we always probably will. But there you go. Andreas did have a couple of more thoughts as well on the Liverpool, on the cup draw in general.
One word to the FA Cup draw. It's not the best draw, of course. I think we are happy with playing at home against Liverpool, but all the four top teams, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, and Arsenal, are playing at home and probably should go through to the semi-finals. It's not the real cup. How can I say, cup atmosphere or condition that you can say, there's a surprise possible. It would not be only a surprise, but a sensation if one of the smaller teams wins away and qualifies for the semi-finals. So the draw was not the best, but for us, let's be happy that we have a game at home and it's not against City or Chelsea. Against Liverpool, I think we are the favorites. We have the better team. We should be able to beat Liverpool, and of course the FA Cup should be our prime goal for this season, as we are out in the Subway Cup. And yes, Champions League, but to be honest, I don't expect us to win the Champions League. The league is gone, so let's concentrate primarily on the FA Cup. And yes, I have already ordered my ticket for the cup final, so I will be at Wembley end of May. And the Arsenal girls, did you listen? Please qualify for the final and come to Wembley too at the end of May. Okay, FA Cup draw, Arsenal versus Liverpool, 9th March. We go through, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we will go through, but again, it's not easy, is it? We struggled a little bit against London City Lionesses. Liverpool are better than them, so it's going to be a tough game. But anyway, as long as we go through, we'll be more than happy. Greg says it was low against London City because it was obvious we weren't going to play our strongest side. Well, now, and again, that's a fair point as well. But do we not want to support the squad players? Do we not sometimes want to see some of the players that don't play very often get a game? Jenna obviously making her debut, got a chance to see her, get a chance to see Katie Reid playing again. So, I agree that maybe that people think, I'm not going to go because it's not going to be the strongest team. But, it's a strong squad. Everybody tends to get on in the game at some point. The subs come on and stuff. So, I don't know. I think if people didn't go to the game because of that reason, then to me, that's a bit of a lame reason not to come. Really, isn't it? Because you don't think it's going to be a strong team. You should come because it will give you a chance to see some of these other players play. And I was quite excited for that reason about the game, actually. But anyway, Ryan says Subway Cup putting people off. Maybe the name, yeah, exactly. Maybe the name was putting people off about that one. But there's no excuse in the FA Cup, really, is there? Especially it's called the Emirates FA Cup, which of course is our sponsor. I know it's Adobe FA Cup now, isn't it? They've changed it. Well, yeah, that's not great either, is it? Let's be honest. But anyway, Terry says, spot on, Greg. We all knew the team would be full of Swedes and Yanks. Well, yeah, I mean, it was not enough Swedes started the game, though, did they? Although one had a big impact when she came on, as always. Joe says, my thoughts regarding attendance levels is I think the women's game needs hardcore supporters like the men's game. the game won't grow if it's stuck at groupie level or two family levels. No, you're right, absolutely. And I think that there's been that in the last 2 or 3 years. There's been that change, hasn't there? And it's becoming more away from the sort of family orientated support it was, and it has become a lot more hardcore, if you like, for want of a better word. But you're right. And that's what it needs to grow. And I do think that there is that now. I mean, our attendances don't really drop that low, do they? They're not. Maybe we've got a little bit spoiled, haven't we? Because we've had some sellouts at the Emirates. We've had 30, 40,000 at the Emirates games. And then suddenly we're playing at Meadow Park and it's 3/4 full. What, 2,500, 3,000. It looks bad. But in the overall scheme of things, you go back a few years and we'd have had 500 people for a game like London City Lionesses, probably less than that. So it's still growing. And I think sometimes we maybe expect to run before we've started to walk properly. And I think maybe sometimes that's what it is. It's going to be a process that is going to take time to reach that levels in every single game. Like in the Premier League, most games get sold out, don't they, across the board, not just Arsenal. And I think the WSL, the women's game, will get to that level, but it's not ready to yet. It's too early. But you're right. The supporters needs to grow. And it needs to be that core base of supporters that gets bigger and bigger when we move away from that kind of, like you said, the family atmosphere. Not that the family atmosphere is a bad thing, but the game won't grow if that's going to be the sort of fans that we're attracting. And I don't think we are so much now. I do think it's moving away from that. It just takes time, doesn't it? But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's lots of reasons, and it's something that needs time. And we're heading in the right direction. There's no doubt about that, and we'll continue to do, I'm sure, over the next 2 or 3 years. Grat says the Subway Cup is completely out of tracks, off its rails. No, I don't get what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of off its trolley, I would say. Greg says, why would you want to buy a ticket for the final unless you know your team is there? Who would you want to go to a final with? Why would you want to? No, exactly. No, I agree. I personally wouldn't. And I've never. The reason why, one of the reasons why, and yes, that's part of the reason. But my main reason is I don't want to jinx it. I feel that if I buy a ticket to the cup final that we haven't qualified for yet, and then we get knocked out, I'll blame myself for buying a ticket. So that's why I won't do it. Plus, you're right. I wouldn't want to go. I would sell me a ticket. If we're not in the final, I would sell me a ticket. But Andreas went last year. It's a great event for women's football. And why not support the event if that's what you want to do? But personally, for me, no, I agree with you. I wouldn't. I'd never buy a ticket for a cup final unless I know we're in it. Absolutely. I say because I wouldn't sleep at night if we got knocked out. I'll be blaming myself. Why did I buy a ticket? So, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Grat says Sweden has raised a lot of good Swedish players. No, absolutely, Sweden. Terry was only joking about the Swedes. We love the Swedes, my friend. You know that, really. Terry says, Joe, you have a good point, but I fell in love with Arsenal, not the players and managers, which is what football's about today. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the club, isn't it? For me, it was the club, always the club. And it still is now. The club is what, mate. Yes, there's some players we really love, some players we're not so keen on. Managers we love, some managers we don't. But players and managers come and go. The club's always there, and the club is the most important thing. But yeah, I suppose you've got people that want to come and watch certain players play, and if they don't think they're playing, then maybe not so interested. That's the modern football fans for you, isn't it? It's not like it used to be. It's totally different now, isn't it? And you're right, people focus on. I think in women's football it is a little bit more emotional. People are more attached to the players and stuff in women's football than they are in the men's game. More so, it's coming into the men's game a little bit too much. I personally not overly bothered. If a player leaves, they leave. If they stay, they stay. Same with a manager. If it's a player that's really, really good or a manager that's doing really, really well, you want them to stay as long as possible, obviously. But ultimately, you know they're going to leave at some point. Everybody does. And you just accept it. I think, well, okay, they're here, enjoying while they're here, and they'll be gone soon enough, and they'll be replaced by someone else, because that's the way it works. That's life. So let's not get too attached to anybody. The only thing that we really need to get attached to is the club and other supporters, because we'll always be here, won't we? Regardless, and we're the most important people for that reason. Greg says it's a pity we haven't got any of them. Well, yeah, we've got one or two. Ryan says yes, can't get too sentimental over the players because they come and they go. Exactly, yeah, I always say that, and I think that's the best way to be. Love them when they're here, or not like them. It's up to you, but they won't be here forever, will they? Joe says yes, Terry, but reading some of the things online, its groupie families are okay, but maybe have a family stand and let the hard. No, I kind of agree with that. The singing and stuff like that. There's been a lot of stuff, hasn't there, online recently? I've noticed on a lot of the forums. A lot of people are moaning, "Oh, why are we singing these songs? Why are we criticising other players and other teams and this and the other?" Right? That's part of football. And I think you're right. If we maybe separate or give people the option, if you want to go in with the singing and enjoy it and sing the songs and not get offended by it and have a laugh with it all, then there's areas for that. If you don't want to be a part of that, you want to be over the other side and you want to watch the game and support the team in a different way, absolutely fine. And I just want everybody to stop telling everyone else what they should and shouldn't do. If someone is standing next to you at a game and they're singing songs that you don't like, either move away or just say, well, okay, look, you support the team how you want and you can sing your own songs or do you support how you want to support. Don't tell everyone else to be like you. Everybody's different. Everybody's an individual and everyone should be allowed to express themselves wherever they want. I mean, I had this exact same conversation when I was at the men's game against Newcastle the other week because I wasn't very happy with how we were playing. I was quite frustrated. Well, what are you moaning for? Well, I'm moaning because I'm not happy with how we're playing. And I'm entitled to do that. Everyone's entitled to give their opinion. Everyone's entitled to support the team how they want. If you want to shout and scream and cheer for how rubbish we're playing, that's up to you. Fine. I'll let you go with it. I'm not going to stop you. So don't stop me expressing my view or my support of the team in the way I want to. And I think everyone should just get on with it. Don't criticize everybody else. Just do your own thing. And yeah, if we have stands or parts of the ground for certain things, then that's fine as well. Then you can go where you want to go, be with the people that you want to be with, and it's fine. But let everyone get on with it, honestly. Just stop telling everybody else what they should and shouldn't be doing. If you don't like what someone else is doing, move somewhere else or just accept that people are different to you. And if you don't like it, don't come to football. Do something else on a Saturday or Sunday. You know, go and take your dog for a walk over the park and not worry about it. But there you go. We shall see what happens. I probably won't make any difference. Terry says, totally agree with Joe, but we ain't a football club anymore. It's a business. It's all about the money. No, of course it's all about the money. Absolutely. Ryan says, I don't think we need Greta Thunberg. Well, no, she's Swedish, isn't she, actually? Joe said, yep, online, I noticed a desire to police what's being sang or chanted. This won't encourage growth. No, it won't, no. And I think people have got to realise, right, and I know there's some people that have been going to women's football maybe for quite a number of years when it was, you know, one man and his dog, if you like, in the crowd kind of thing. And the atmosphere was a bit different to what it is now because we've attracted a new generation of fans. And maybe they're a little bit, they don't like the change. And sometimes it's difficult to accept, but you've got to let people be what they need to be and do what they want to do. It makes no difference, does it, to you? It doesn't affect you, does it? If you don't like it, that's your problem. Don't put your problem onto everybody else. Just let everyone get on with it. You know, we're supposed to be in this inclusive club. We want to include everybody. So just include everybody. If you want to support the team in that way, you want to boo the opposition, you want to boo our ex-players, boo them. Get on with it. I don't care. Why should you care? If you don't want to boo them, do what you want. You want to clap them, clap them. I don't care about that either. I might think you're wrong, but it's up to you. You're allowed to be wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong. Everyone is. Just let people be themselves. So there you go. Joe said, I thought it was a fashion. Well, it is a fashion house. It's a very poor fashion brand, isn't it? Let's be honest now. But there you go. Greg says, the best thing is everyone stop going until we get rid of the money grabbing. Well, no, that would be the best thing. I agree. But it's never going to happen, unfortunately, because you'll never get enough people not to go. There'll always be people somewhere that will just go because they think it's cool and fashionable and they want to be seen to be there, don't they? So I agree with you. It's never going to happen, though, is it? Anyway, that's the FA Cup. And the FA Cup means we're still in it, and that's good. And we need to get back to Wembley, don't we? So I'm sure we've got a great chance we'll get into the semi-final. We've got a few games to play before then, of course. But let's see how that works out. Now, of course, this week we've seen a couple of, one really good bit of good news and one news that some people might think is good news, but I'm not convinced it is. So let's have a little talk about some of the news that we've heard in the last few days. Of course, Vicky Pelova, who as she played for the under-21s against Manchester United, she scored in that game. All the first team players were there supporting her, which was great. And the fact she's back on the grass, she's kicking the ball, she's playing not competitive football, but it was competitive enough, tends to suggest that she's not far away. Now, yes, we've seen how long it's taken our other ACL victims to get back to anywhere near their best form. Some of them still haven't. So let's not get too carried away. But obviously, having Vicky Pelova back in the squad, which is going to come very, very shortly, is great news. I think we've missed her. I think she's a fantastic player, but we need to be patient with her. We may need to write off this season even with her and just say, look, just get on the pitch, get some minutes in your legs, get back into it again, and hopefully the benefits that she'll get from playing now, we'll really see the benefit of next season, when hopefully we can start to see the best of Vicky again as we did last season. But yeah, it's great news. I was so pleased when I saw her playing and got that great goal. It was fantastic. So yeah, that's really, really good news. I'm so pleased to see her back. But I say, let's keep our feet on the ground a little bit, because I say it's going to be still a journey for her. Right, it says Vicky Pelova, she's coming for you. Yeah, she will be getting stuck into them tackles, I'm sure. So yeah, that was good news. Now, of course, the other news that came out, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? Was, of course, Captain Kim Little being given an extra year, an extension on her contract till 2026, which I think she needs to be at the club, involved at the club. She's still the captain. If you're the captain, you'd imagine if your captain's fit there in the team, should she be an automatic choice in the team now going forward? I'm not sure. I think her best days are clearly behind her. I still think she's got a lot to offer as a leader in the changing room. But on the pitch, I'm starting to think as a club, we should be looking in the future. We should be looking in the future, maybe saying, you know what, let's keep her involved. Of course, I would be looking at giving her a coaching role, actually, more than a playing contract. But maybe next season she won't play as much. Maybe she'll just be in and out of the team. Maybe she won't be the captain. Maybe they'll move the captain on. So obviously Leah Williamson would be the obvious choice. But I don't know. Joe says one day they might find out why women footy players are susceptible to ACL. Well, I think they've got a few ideas as to why, but what can they do to prevent it? That's the key, isn't it? I think, is it equipment that they need? I don't really know until they've investigated it enough and to come up with some proper answers. We're not going to know. But yeah, obviously we want to see a lot less ACL injuries, don't we? To the footballers, we've suffered our own bad ones. There's lots of others as well that we don't maybe focus on as much. But yeah, we want to see less of those injuries, and let's hope that they come up with the reasons and the answers and ways to prevent it. Or you're never going to stop it completely. In the men's game, you get ACL injuries. Gabriel Jesus, for example, has got one now, hasn't he? So it does happen in the men's game as well, not to the same extent, obviously. But yeah, we want to try and do what we can to make it less and less of an issue, because it's got too much, hasn't it? Greg says a mistake she's got slower and slower over the last few years. Leaves 7. No, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a mistake to keep her at the club. I think as a playing contract, I'm not convinced that's the right choice. She's playing less and less games now because injuries are catching up with her, and I think in some games when she's played, she's not had the same impact that she did, and I'm not overly happy that she's going to, if she's going to be still captain next season and play a lot of games, I'm not sure that's the right. I think that's a year of holding other players back and a year of us not building and progressing with younger players. For example, if Vicky is back next season, we've got Kyrie who's been playing really well. Is it going to be, are they going to have to be held back to allow Kim to play her final season? I wouldn't want to see that happening. So I don't know. It's a tough one, because I don't want the club to just dismiss her. But it could be like with a Jen Beattie situation, where Jen Beattie signed a contract, she didn't really play, and then she left halfway through it anyway. So I don't know. Vicky says Kim has been out of the team and Arsenal's form has dropped. Well, yeah, if you look at it like that, you could say so. But she missed games in the good run that we had as well, didn't she? So I wouldn't like to say that's the only reason why the form's dropped. I think there's a few other factors involved, but yeah, maybe that's worth thinking about. Maybe you're right. Maybe Kim has more impact than we think. I just would like to. I'm not saying to get rid of her. What I'm saying is I want to see her next season not playing very much, being a strong influence in the changing room, and maybe looking more into the coaching side of it and not playing as much next season. But if she's fit, I suppose, and she can still have a positive impact on the pitch, why not? I suppose I'm just not convinced that that's going to help the team long term. We want to get younger players in now and start building, for the future, if you like. Terry says, love Kim, but this will be happening a lot over the next 2 seasons. Our players are coming to the end of it. No, you're right. We've got a few. You're right, absolutely, and we need to make those decisions earlier, don't we? So that we don't get in a situation where we're seeing players deteriorating because of their age and stuff. We want to replace them just at the right time. We haven't really replaced Kim yet. Some people would say we don't need to. Vicky, you made a good point there. Our form's dropped off. Maybe we don't need to replace her yet. But, she's got 36, she's 37, around about that sort of age. She's not going to be playing much longer. This will be her last contract. So let's maybe look at it like that. Yeah, let her maybe have a next year. I don't want to see her be captain and playing all the time. I want to see her more taking a back seat, more of a leadership role in the dressing room and stuff like that. That would be a good thing for me, and to help the younger players develop and stuff like that. That should be her role maybe next season. But we'll see. Joe says, does Arsenal have a problem in letting go and hanging on to players? Yeah, I agree. Maybe we do. Maybe we do have a problem with that. Absolutely. I kind of think you might be right. Again, it comes down to sentiment, doesn't it? I think women's football generally is run by sentiment a bit more. But you're right. Maybe that is a problem. Maybe it is. Joe says she can replace Win the Lab. People can pat her on the head. Well, I think she maybe deserves a bit more than that. But yeah, maybe she can be the team motivator. That's a good name, isn't it? It's like Arsenal backwards, isn't it? Lanesra, that's great, isn't it? Isn't Pelova in the last 6 months of her current contract? I think she is, but I think that what's tended to happen previously is when a player's had a long spell out of an injury, they usually just get an extension anyway, don't they? And usually they sign it because the club have helped them with rehab and stuff. I'll be amazed if she left. I think she's here for the longer term. But yeah, you're right. I think she's in the last 6 months, but I wouldn't expect her to leave. Not, would that be a bit harsh, wouldn't it? We go through the rehab with her, get her back fit and playing again. And, sorry, I'm going to leave now. I don't think she will. But let's wait and see. Anyway, obviously, Andreas gave his thoughts, of course, on the news from this week.
Yeah, okay. And just a short one to round everything up. The news that appeared today, Vicky Pelova is back. She played 45 minutes for the U21 and she scored a goal. All her teammates were there to cheer her up, and just fantastic news. Probably she's back after the international break, back in the squad of the first team. Let's hope. I think the North London derby is too early for her, but anyway, 45 minutes played and a goal scored. That's just great, and I think we all can't wait to see Vicky Pelova back on the pitch for us. And I know it was only U21 and it was a friendly against Man United, so you can't compare it with a competitive game in the WSL. But she's on her way, and we need her. We need her in the form she was last season. We all know after an ACL it takes time. She will come back for I think a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The really important games are coming in March with the Champions League, so maybe we have Vicky as an alternative there. Anyway, that was very, very good news.
Yeah, of course it is very, very good news. But yeah, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to play such a big part in the next round of the Champions League. Maybe if we get to the semi-final, maybe she might be able to contribute more by then. But I don't want us to get too excited yet and rushing her back, because we know how long it can take to get back on the pitch and playing regular and getting back to your best again. Greg says, building on a future doesn't involve hangers-on. Look at Chelsea. She'd be gone. We've got to be more ruthless. Well, Chelsea have still got a few of their older players, haven't they? Millie Bright, for example. Still look at Lucy. They've got Lucy Bronze. So I don't know. I think you've got to get the balance right, I think, with it. I personally think that the point was made before about we've got a bit of an aging squad. So I think that maybe we should be looking at bringing younger players in. And I say Kim needs to be around the place, because I think her experience and her leadership are fantastic to have. I'm just not sure on the pitch she can really contribute as much as she used to. But let's see. I mean, it is what it is. And of course, Andreas have got some thoughts on the Kim Little contract as well.
And then today, Kim Little extended her contract for another year. I know Richard is not really satisfied with this. I'd say Kim won't get in a lot of minutes next season. It's not the plan that she will play 90 minutes every week. She doesn't do this this season. But as a leader, she's still important, my opinion. And yeah, she can, her experience she brings in training. And we have young players like Kyra, like Vicky Pelova, Rosa Kafaci. They can learn from Kimi, from her experience. And if you need her for 30 minutes or so, one half, she's still a very good player, and we have to manage her minutes. She won't get enough or a lot of minutes, but she can still be important for the team. So I think it's good news. What do you think about it? Let's see. That's it from me. Have a nice or a good show, and hope to see you all on Sunday at the North London Derby. Come on, you Gunners.
But we'll be hearing a bit more from Andreas a bit later on, obviously looking ahead to the derby and stuff as well. But just the way he ordered the clips was slightly different to how I wanted to do it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Andreas will be back with some more thoughts very soon. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's right. I'm not overly happy with the fact that we're hanging on to her as a player. I'd have actually just pretty much stuck her on a coaching staff at the end of the season. That's what I would have done. So she could still have that impact, but not necessarily on the pitch. Vicky says, we don't have depth in holding midfielders. We needed Walsh. And I'm sure in the summer we'll get somebody. Because, like, Andreas is right, and we've mentioned it as well. She probably isn't going to play every game next season. She's probably not going to play most of the games, if we're honest. So I think we'll definitely sign another defensive midfield player. Yes, Kira Walsh would have been perfect, of course, we know that, but that's not happening now, is it? So we'll have to look elsewhere. So let's get that done, and then we can start to build a new team in a way, or start that process. Some players will need replacing over the next 2 or 3 years. There's no doubt. Kim's one of them, of course. Leah Volti will be another one. Beth Mead's coming towards the end, really. She's got a little bit longer left, maybe, but we need to start thinking of these things, planning ahead, not leaving it to the last minute, and then suddenly we're not going to be able to bring in 4 or 5 players all at the same time because 4 or 5 players have reached that point where they're not playing regularly anymore. We need to start that process already, bring replacements in, and start doing that. Is Renee going to be ruthless enough? I don't know. Ryan says, yes, could be more about leadership with Little. She might help you. Yeah, exactly. No, she can, but she can do that on a training pitch. She can do that in the dressing room. It doesn't have to be on the pitch, because I think she's been exposed and caught out a little bit this season when she's played. And yes, she's had a few injuries and stuff. But anyway, yeah, let's see how it plays out, I suppose, first. If she doesn't play much, she's going to be a good influence, then fine, no problem at all. And if she can come in and do a job in the odd game here and there, like Jen Beattie did, in her final sort of season with us, then maybe so. But let's see. Joe says, I can't wait to see Chloe Kelly start again. Well, we might see that coming quite soon, mightn't we? And of course, yeah. So, I don't want to see Kim playing regular. I don't want to see her be captain next season, is what I mean, and playing regularly. And when she plays, she comes in and becomes captain. Now, I'd like to see the captain move on from her. She can become more of a bit part player next season and concentrate more on her leadership and helping everybody else. And that would be great. I've got no problem with that. My problem is if she's still going to be considered a first team starter next season, when I don't think she's at that level anymore. I don't think she is. And if she's honest with herself, I'm sure she would admit it as well. She's not the player she was. And she's been a fantastic player. We love Kim. Don't take this the wrong way. I just feel as though moving forward, we need to start looking at bringing younger players in. And, the more experienced players, some of them maybe taking a step back and maybe getting a bit more coaching and stuff like that. That's what I see. Talking of Chloe Kelly, actually, of course, there was the latest Lionesses squad was announced, of course, this week for the upcoming Nations League games, which are going to be good preparation, of course, ahead of the Euros in the summer. And there was, of course, a bigger mission. So, yes, Chloe Kelly left out the squad. I don't think too many people were really surprised when you thought about it. She's not played much football at Man City for the reasons we're not 100% certain of yet, but she's now come to Arsenal with a point to prove a little bit. And as Serena said, you know, she just needs to be playing minutes on the pitch and showing that she's still worthy of her place in the squad. And I've got no problem with that, really. I want to see the England squad and the England players with the best players that are in the right form, that are playing regularly and doing well for their clubs. That's who I want to see playing for England. So, you know, I want Chloe to prove herself with us, first of all. And if she does that, I'm pretty sure she will get a place in the squad in the Euros in the summer. I've got no doubt about that. It's just, for now, I think people are getting a little bit excited about it, you know, saying, oh, why has she been left out? Well, she's not played any football really, has she? Come on, let's be honest. Why would she get picked for England when she's not been playing regular for her club? I think you've got to be playing for your club, haven't you? Certainly, as a minimum, to be considered for England, you should be playing pretty well for your club as well. So, you know, Serena hasn't closed the door on her for next summer, and I'd like to, you know, we've seen the impact that she made in the Euros. We saw the impact that she made in the World Cup. I want to see her involved in the Euros in the summer. Absolutely, of course I do. 100% I want to see her there because I think she's a great player to have. I think she can bring quality when it's needed. I don't think she's going to start the games necessarily, but I think she'll can great to have in the squad. And I'm sure she'll get in the squad. But for her to do that, she's got to be getting games for Arsenal. She's got to be playing for Arsenal. You know, she already can't play in the FA Cup, so that's one competition she can't play in. I think she can play in the Champions League, which is good. Obviously, she can play in the WSL, so she's going to have games to play. And let's hope that she can perform for us because one, it helps us, and two, it's going to increase her chances of making it into the squad in the summer, which is what I think we all want to see that, don't we? Let's be honest. You know, I think she's got a lot to offer, and let's see how it works out. Terry says even England dropped her, but she's good enough for us. Typical. Well, she's just not playing. I don't think she's been dropped. She just hasn't been played. Vicky says the press were just looking for a story. No way she's been selected. No, absolutely. I wasn't absolutely surprised at all. It's like you can't pick a player that hasn't played. It's like picking a player that's injured. You might as well just pick an injured player. She's not injured, but you know what I mean? It's like players have got to be picked on form, and she's got no form because she's not played enough. So let's see what she can do for us between now and the end of the season. And in a way, it's good for us because she's now got something to fight for. She's now got something to fight for. She knows that if she plays well for Arsenal, or even if she just plays okay for Arsenal, starts playing regular for Arsenal, she's probably going to get in that squad. So she's got something to play for now. And hopefully that's going to mean that we'll see the best of Chloe Kelly between now and the end of the season when she plays for us, because it's going to benefit us. And that's the most important thing. When this season's finished, then we can worry about the Euros and who's in the squad and who isn't, and whether she's there or not. She's not even our player, let's be honest. She's still only on loan. She may never become our player. So when the Euros is on, she's going to probably be still a Man City player. But even so, as from an England perspective, I want to see her selected because I think she's a good player. She has a lot to offer, but she's got to do it for Arsenal, absolutely. Greg says, playing well for your club isn't needed. They've still got bronze in the squad and see slow and cost us goal. Well, no, you're right. And I do think, again, there's a bit more sentiment involved in the women's game. Ag says, yes, she has to play and she will. Well, I hope you're right. Terry says, Greg, you hit the nail on the head. Well, yeah, obviously, I think the managers have their favourites. It's happened in the men's game as well, hasn't it? Players get selected for England regardless of if they're playing regular for their clubs or not. And that's wrong. It should be on your form, but you know, because other players maybe get away with it, sometimes you think, well, you know, should Chloe Kelly have been picked? You know, with the credits that she's got in the bank, which is what Serena alluded to. But no, I think Vicky's right. I do think it was a bit of a non-story that the press were looking to create an issue with it, which they've managed to do. There's a lot of noise online about, oh, well, Chloe Kelly should be in the squad. No, she should be in this squad. This squad she's not ready for. Hopefully the next squad, it'll be a different story. Let's hope so, because that means she's playing well for us, and that's what we want. Of course, Andreas gave his thoughts on this situation as well. Why wouldn't he?
We are heading into an international break with Nations League games. Will be important and difficult games. I think one of the main subject was Chloe Kelly not in the squad. What's my opinion to this? I think it's a logical and the right decision from Serena. I mean, Chloe didn't play for Man City for weeks. She had enough credit that she was in the squad at the end of last year, but not having played, you can't expect her to be in the squad just because she has changed clubs. No, I'm fully with Serena that Chloe has to gain minutes now at Arsenal, and if she plays to her best, then of course she will be back in the squad, and I think Chloe has a good chance to be in the Euros squad for summer, and that's the reason why she changed from City to us, and that's also the reason why I'm saying a win-win situation for Chloe and for Arsenal, because she will give her everything to be back in the squad, and this not being called up for the next window is I think an extra motivation for Chloe, and I really hope she will get a chance to play for us, maybe on Sunday in the starting lineup against Spurs. Let's see. For me, the right decision.
Yeah, and I think we all pretty much agree with that, don't we? It definitely was the right decision. I think we're pretty certain about that, aren't we? But let's see. Here we go. Terry says, I thought Arsenal was a business, not a charity. Well, I don't think we're in a charity. If she's good enough, she'll play for us. If she's not, she won't. Simple as that. Greg says, Kelly won us the Euros. Bronze cost us the World Cup. Well, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Pretty spot on, really. Egg says, Andreas do support England. He does support England. Yeah, of course he does. Inside, he supports England. Being German is just where he was born and where he lives. Doesn't mean he can't support England. Ryan says, it is a fashion business. We've said that before. Greg says, Andreas supports winners. Exactly, yeah. He supports the teams that win, exactly. Ryan says his indoor shirt. Well, I'm sure he wears it outside as well sometimes, but yeah. Chloe Kelly not in the squad, but as Andreas said, as Reeve said, it gives her an extra little bit of motivation for the rest of the season. Then I'm all in favour of that. If we see a fully fired up Chloe Kelly playing for us in the next 3 or 4 months, then I don't think we're going to have too many complaints, are we? Because she is a good player. She can certainly be effective. She can score goals. She can create goals. Let's hope that. I'm rooting for her to be in the squad for this summer in the Euros. I say one because I think she can benefit the team, but also because it means she's played well for us, and that's the most important thing. Andreas did give some final thoughts on the Lionesses matches as well.
And then I'm happy that Lotta is in the squad. She played the last games and she played well. We know that she's down the pecking order from Serena, and probably Lotta won't get any minutes for the Lionesses, but I know that it means a lot to her to be in the squad. So yeah, fingers crossed that Lotta will get a few minutes, but I'm happy for her to be in the squad. Of course, Leah is there, and Beth, hopefully, if she's fit. She was not in the squad against LCL, and I think the game before only on the bench. Hopefully it's nothing serious, and she can play for the Lionesses. And of course, Leslie Russo, she will be a starter for the Lionesses. Yeah, let's see. That's my opinion to Serena's call up, and yeah, as always, fingers crossed also for the Lionesses. My English heart beats for the Lionesses.
Yeah, of course we know that, my friend. We know exactly where your heart lies. It's good from an Arsenal perspective. We've got 4 players in the squad, and we've got Chloe Kelly, who's not our player but a potential for the squad in the Euro. So it's great to see. I think Andreas is right about Lotta. She seems to get in the squad a lot with the Lionesses, but she doesn't seem to play very much. And I thought the 2 games she did play, was it towards the end of last season, she played in a couple of games, didn't she? Scored a goal in one of them. She was player of the match, I think, in at least one of them. So I don't know what more she can do, Lotta. I feel a bit sorry for her because she doesn't play enough for England. Will she get to play in either of these 2 games? My guess is probably not. but she's there in the squad. And I do think being in the squad is a benefit to any player, training with the national team and all that kind of stuff. I think it's good for a player's development. And yeah, let's hope that that she can play a part. Let's hope she's selected in the summer as well for the finals. Obviously, she needs to be playing for Arsenal. We said that before. She needs to be playing games. She hasn't played enough games previously this season, but she's back in the team recently. She's been playing pretty well. So, yeah, happy for her. We knew, obviously, Leah's captain's going to be selected. Of course she will. And we knew Beth would probably be selected. And we knew Leslie Russo would almost certainly be selected because we don't really have a lot of centre-forward options for England anymore, do we? So, yeah, there's a few injury doubts about Beth at the moment. She was rested completely from the last game against London City. She was only on the bench against Man City the game before. So, yeah, there's a few injury doubts there, but I'm sure she's fit enough to play a part in that squad. Whether she'll start either of those games, I'm not sure. We'll see. But there we go. Terry says the 3 Lions makes Lordy feel safe. Exactly, it does, yeah. Greg says if all our players are English, they'd be the Lionesses squad. Well, of course they would, yeah, absolutely. Vicky says there's so many defenders selected, 9 I think it was. Yeah, there seems to be a lack of quality midfield and forward players at the moment, doesn't there, coming through? And it's a bit of a worry. Looking at that squad, I must admit, I'm quite worried about the Euros. You know, we're the defending champions. We want to give it a good go. We've reached a World Cup final last summer. And, yeah, it would be... We want to give it a good go, don't we? Looking at that squad, yes, there's a few players missing. Obviously, Hempo's missing, which, you know, she's a big loss. We know that. And if she can be fit for the summer, that's going to be a massive boost as well, isn't it? Obviously, you said Chloe Kelly's out. There's a few others. So we have got 1 or 2 injuries. Frank Kirby's not back yet. So hopefully by the summer, we'll have everybody fit and available. And it might look a bit better. But at the minute, I'm worried about the midfield depth. I'm worried about the attacking depth. But we can only go with what we've got, who's available and who's fit. There don't seem to be the players coming through, does it? There doesn't. And that's a worry for me. You know, I think that it was obvious after the World Cup, like 2 years ago, that the squad needed rebuilding because it was getting older. We'd had a few players already retire. And that's not really happened, has it? Not really. I mean, yes, Grace Clinton's come in and done a decent job and she's going to grow and develop and I'm sure she's going to be a great player for the future. But we don't really have a striker, centre forward, do we? That you look at and think they're coming through and going to give Leslie a little bit of competition. When Leslie doesn't play, we've looked absolutely weak up front, haven't we? In the games when Leslie hasn't played for England. So she's so important, isn't she? So, but let's see. You know, we've got a few months yet till the finals. Let's see how these 2 games work out in the Nations League. There's another international break to come as well, isn't it? Later on as well before the Euros. So let's see. But yeah, I'm a bit worried about that squad in terms of looking at the Euros ahead. I'm not too worried about the results of these next 2 games necessarily. The Nations League, are we that bothered about that? Really, it's good preparation, though, isn't it? What's to come? 2 tough games coming up this week, next week. So, yeah, the squad depth in certain aspects does worry me a bit. Yeah, you're right. But maybe it'll all come together when it matters, which is all it doesn't matter what the build-up's like necessarily. It's what matters when you're there. Greg says, I still think it's strange getting Kelly match fit for Man U next season. Well, you never know. She might come to us. Ag says, England, you'll not win the Euro. Sweden's coming for you. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We managed to knock you out last time, didn't we? Which was good. Greg says, Fran Kirby, not a worry. She's had her day. Well, yeah, I know, I agree. But I think she's a sort of player that in some games look at her and think she could come on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, create something. Because she's still got that ability. I wouldn't be starting her games and playing 90 minutes, no. But I still think she's got a little bit of quality there. Vicky says, yeah, my point exactly. Naz and Paris don't excite me. No, they don't. I mean, I think Nikita Paris is another one that's maybe her best days are behind her. And Jessica Naz, I like her. I think she's a trier. Doesn't really have the quality. Aggie Beaver-Jones is another one. Don't think she has the quality at that level. I just don't. And that is my biggest concern, actually, is what happens if Leslie gets injured. Heaven forbid that happens. What do we do? I don't know. That's my worry. You know, we're going to be pinning far too much hopes on Lauren James. And we know her temperament lets her down, as it did in the World Cup. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that. I mean, you know, there's a lot still to happen between now and the summer. But let's... let's not get too concerned now. But I am worried about this current couple of games with the squad we've got. And if that was a squad we took to the Euros, then I don't think we'd get very far. We'd probably get out of the group and maybe struggle after that. So, but I say I've got faith that Serena can get the best out of what she's got when it matters. And let's see. Ag says, Lauren James will step on someone and fix a penalty. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. She might win us a few penalties, maybe, but maybe the refs might have woken up to a bit by then, but who knows? But yeah, let's see. Arsenal have got a lot of involvement in this latest squad, which is great, and that's good to see, isn't it? So I'm happy about that. But yeah, from a perspective of the Euros, I'm worried. I've got to be honest. But let's see what happens. Now, of course, before we finish, we have got to look ahead to what is always a big game. Maybe not quite so much in the women's game as it is in the men's game. It is still, though, a massive game, and it can only be one result, of course, as always. I mean, it's a silly question, isn't it? Well, North London is always only ever been red. So, of course, it's going to remain red this weekend. We know it is. But, it's a game we have to win. And it's a game we should win. But if you remember, last season's game at the Emirates against Spurs was quite tricky. We won 1-0 in the end. Obviously, Leslie got the goal. But it was a tight game. They did beat us, of course, away last season. But they're having a bit of an up and down season, aren't they, Spurs? And this is a great chance for us to go in front of what is going to be a really big crowd. I think 55,000 tickets have already been sold. It's likely that we should be able to sell a few more before Sunday. Could well be nearly a sellout crowd. It's going to be fantastic. Always a big occasion. Although I say it's maybe not quite got the same kind of a feel as the men's North London derby. That's, I think, in the women's game, Arsenal-Chelsea is the big game, isn't it? We know that that's the big derby. But this one's such an important game, and obviously we can't lose. They've never beaten us away, Tottenham. So, we don't want to start now, do we, at the Emirates, certainly. So it's a big game, and it's one we have to win. It's one to look forward to, big crowd and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be good. So let's hear what Andreas is thinking about this big game.
Next game on Sunday, the North London derby against Spurs. So just to remind you what Leah Williamson said before the last North London derby in November, there's nothing bigger than a North London derby. So yeah, that's it. Even for me, as I didn't grow up in North London or I'm not a London resident, the first thing I learned is that the North London derby is, the most important game of the season. Even if the rivalry in women's football is not as high as in men's football, I think nobody wants to lose this game. So I read that 56,000 tickets are already sold. So there's a good chance to have a sold out Emirates. The atmosphere will be fantastic. And of course, we all expect a win. I just checked the statistics. Spurs are on sixth place. They only scored 19 goals and conceded 26 goals so far. And this is the second most goals conceded in the league. Only Crystal Palace conceded more with 35. But all the teams below, Liverpool, Everton, West Ham, Villa, they have not conceded 26 goals. So their defense seems to be not the best. They scored 19, okay. They have 17 points. We have 27 points. We are clear favorites.
Yeah, we are clear favourites. And of course, we should win the game. But I think, as I said before, Tottenham have had a bit of an up and down season, haven't they? Inconsistent. They've had a few good results and poor results. They don't seem to score enough goals, as Andreas said. So, is it? I think growing up as an Arsenal fan, obviously in London, you're aware very quickly of the rivalry between Arsenal and Spurs. And obviously over the years, I've learned the history of the two clubs and stuff like that and understand the rivalry there. I don't think in the women's game it's been like that, only because it's only been in recent years that we've even started playing Spurs regularly. So, of course, you're not going to build up that amount. But I want Arsenal to beat Spurs if we're playing them at Tiddlywinks. I want us to beat Spurs every single time we play them, because that's just what you're brought up to do. The rest of the time, I've got to be honest, I'm not really that bothered about Spurs as much as some other Arsenal fans are. I don't look at them in the men's or the women's games as necessarily a rival to us, certainly not at the moment, because they're not. But you know, I don't really care how they get on against anyone else, as long as we beat them every time we play them. In men's, women's football, I say tiddlywinks, you know, bowls, whatever it is. As long as we beat them, that's all right, isn't it? As long as we're doing better than them overall, which generally we have been. I mean, in my whole entire life supporting Arsenal, I think Spurs have only finished above us in the league, maybe, I don't know, a handful of times. So, you know, we've obviously always had the upper hand on them anyway. Kind of take it for granted, really, don't we? But yeah, it isn't as big a rivalry in the women's game yet. I think as the years go on, it probably will become that way, won't it? If Spurs stay in the WSL and we get a few maybe feisty games between the two, which we've had a few already, haven't we? It may develop like that, but for me, it's always Arsenal and Chelsea in the women's game. That's the rivalry. That's in the men, it's Arsenal Spurs. In the women, it's Arsenal Chelsea, and maybe, you know, Arsenal Spurs in the women is going to become as big as that. But I don't know. For me, Tottenham would need to start threatening us for trophies and threatening us for the top end of the league before we could really start feeling that same excitement of beating them. Beating Chelsea, it means more in the women's, for me, for the women's team, than beating Spurs does. Beating Spurs, you just think, you expect it, don't you? It's just, well, it's only Spurs, of course we're going to beat them. And it's great to beat them, and obviously we don't want any other result, but beating Chelsea means more still in the women's game, doesn't it? So I'm sure that will change over the years, but yeah, it's still a massive game. Of course it is. It's a North London derby. Christ, what more can you want? What more can you want? Terry says only an Arsenal win, otherwise it would med Rene. Well, I don't know. I think that's a bit soon for that, but we should win. Egg says play Russo and Stina and it's nothing to worry about. No, I agree, but play Russo more centrally behind Stina, not play Russo on the wing, because that didn't work, did it? Greg says looking forward to his prediction of 2-0. Well, we'll get his prediction in a minute, I'm sure. Vicky says Stina on the bench. No, stop putting Stina on the bench. Come on. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Stina is on the bench. Actually, I think he'll start. I think Rene will start with Leslie Russo up top. Will Chloe Kelly start? I don't think she'll start. I think she'll be on the bench. She will come on at some point, I'm sure. Although it might depend on Beth Mead's fitness. I think maybe if Beth isn't fit enough, maybe Chloe might start on the right-hand side, potentially. But yeah, I don't expect Stina to start. I'd like to see Stina start, but I agree with you. I think she probably will be on the bench. And of course, she comes off the bench and makes an impact. She scored from the bench against Tottenham in the away game. She scored from the bench against London City Lionesses at the weekend. She's got 7 goals this season. A lot of them have come in the game that she's come off the bench and scored. So you always know that's going to happen. Greg says, I want to see Spurs relegate. Well, no, I don't, you see. I think at the moment, as long as they're just, you know, mid-table, not doing anything much, I'm happy for them to be in the WSL. I'm happy to be playing them every season and building up that kind of, building up that rivalry a bit more. So I want to see them staying in the WSL, so we play them every season, because I kind of like playing them, and I want that momentum to build up with that rivalry, because I think it'll be great for the women's team as well to have that rivalry with Tottenham. So, you know, don't let them get relegated yet. Let's beat them a lot more times first. Terry says, just thinking the same, Greg. I had Lordy down as a 2. Well, we'll find out in a minute what his score prediction is. Vicky says, we should beat this Spurs team by 3 clear goals. They are poor. Well, I mean, they're hit and miss for me. They've got good players. They should be doing better than what they are. But yeah, we should win. Terry says, it's got to be 6-0 at least. Aggie's gone. Arsenal 3, Tottenham 0. Well, we'd love that, wouldn't we? Like it was in the away game. Greg says, totally agree, Terry, got to be 6-0. Wow, we've got some confident predictions there, haven't we? I'm assuming that, I mean, I haven't actually listened to Andreas's final clip for the Spurs game. I'm assuming he's giving his score prediction. So let's find out, shall we? Because it's quite exciting now, isn't it? Is it going to be 2-0 or 2-1? Will he go bigger? Let's find out.
And I just checked their squad. There are a few names. So where I have to say, they don't have the worst squad. Maybe they are underperforming. Lise Kopp in goal, the Netherlands international. In defense, Charlotte Grant or Molly Bartrip, Amanda Nilden, Swedish international. We all know Ashley Neville, English international. Then in midfield, Drew Spence, whom we know from her Chelsea days, Jessica Ness in the attacking line, and of course Bethany England, Martha Thomas. Yeah, good names, a good squad, but a bit underperforming. Don't underestimate them, but with the Emirates behind us, we should be able to beat them. And my prediction, I say the same as I said for the LCL game last week. We'll win 2-0. Last week, you laughed about me, but who was right with 2-0? So I say once again, we'll win on Sunday 2-0, and this would be important 3 points. And of course, it's, as I said, the North London derby. There's no question. North London is red and must be red on Sunday. So let's go for a win, 2-0 for the Arsenal, and I hope to see everybody there. I'm in block 62 as always, and maybe after the game in front of the press center, maybe I can meet Angs there, and maybe in the Tollies in the pub to meet Amma. Let's see. Come on, you Gunners.
Well, it was 2-0, wasn't it? Wow, brilliant stuff. A few people predicted. Predicting Andreas's predicting scores. That's a new game we can play, isn't it? Let's predict Andreas's predictions, and everyone got it right, really, which is good. Great stuff. Enjoyed that. Let's see there. 170 guns have gone 2-1. Come on, you guys. Well, yeah, we'll take 2-1. Of course we will. Ag says Terry and Greg behaving well tonight. Well, they do their best, don't they? Ag says happy Valentine's indeed to everybody. Colin says, should I put money on Leslie scoring in the first minute like last time? Well, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Of course, it took less than a minute, I think, last time, didn't it? In the away game for Leslie to score. We went on to win that game comfortably 3-0. I think, we've not been playing that well, have we, the last few games? Let's be honest, we haven't. We beat London City Lionesses, didn't play brilliant. We beat Crystal Palace fairly comfortably, but we didn't play brilliant. It was a good game away at Man City where we played well. At home, we played not very well. So, we're not in brilliant form at the minute, but we should obviously beat them lot, shouldn't we? Christ. Joe's gone 1-1. I'm sure you don't mean that really, Joe, dear. I'm sure you don't really mean that. I think we'll win. The 2-0 scoreline, now you've all mentioned it, and Andreas has mentioned it, it's kind of got me thinking, actually 2-0 is probably a fair scoreline, actually. But I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic. I'll go 3-0. I think there was a comment before, wasn't there? So we're 3 goals better than them. I think we should be. We were 3 goals better than last time, and I think we will be. I think the Emirates will help, the bigger pitch, the crowd, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go 3-0. Obviously, Daphne's in goal, so we won't be conceding. I'm going to go 3-0, and it'll be great. It's what we need. We can't afford to be dropping points now. It's so important, isn't it? We're battling for that top 3. Vicky says we are due a good performance. Chloe Kelly off the bench to score the final. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice for her to get a goal, wouldn't it? I mean, she's never played at the Emirates for Arsenal, of course, so it'd be nice for her to be able to experience that as well, won't it? In a big game. I say she may even start. Who knows? I say if Beth's not fit, there'll be not opening there, won't there, for her potentially to start the game. We'll see. It depends how she's gone in training. Bear in mind, she's not played much football. I think it's big to suddenly throw yourself into a competitive game straight away. I do think she's going to come off the bench in the first couple of games that she plays, but we'll see. Sometimes you just have to maybe go with it. If they're playing well in training, stick them on, give them a start, see how they go. Why not? There's no harm in doing it, is there? Joe says, as long as it's a good game, worthy of 55,000 crowd to win for Arsenal. Exactly, yeah. And at the end of the day, these games now, when there's a big crowd at the Emirates, I think it's important that it is a good game. I think that's the first thing, because if we want to keep, if we're not winning trophies, or we're not winning as many trophies as we should be, it's important that when the games are at the Emirates and the crowd are in, they're entertained. At least they're entertained. And this season, to be fair, there's been some great games at the Emirates. Really good football. So hopefully it'll be another good game. And we'll see. 170 Gunner says, big crowd, let's teach Spurs a lesson. Yeah, indeed, let's teach them a lesson. Exactly what we will do. Greg says, why all these low predictions? It's only Spurs, our under 21s could stuff them. No, well, I'm sure they would, but I'm just a little bit concerned how we've been playing the last couple of games. So yeah, I don't know. As long as we beat them, if we beat them 3-0 or we beat them 6-0, I think we're all going to be happy, aren't we? With 3 points, we've put them in their place once again, and there we go. But let's win the game first and foremost. That's all that matters. If we can score a load of goals and win comfortably in the end, fantastic. That's brilliant, isn't it? But we just need the 3 points. Let's be honest, we do need the 3 points. So let's go out there and do it. I'm sure we will. Big crowd, the expectations there. I think that they're starting to try and build up the rivalry between Arsenal and Spurs, which isn't really there yet. But let's get it done. Let's get the job done. Let's win, and we can move on, because obviously there's no game next week because of the internationals that's coming up, of course, we said. So there's going to be a week off. So we might as well throw everything at it, because we've got a couple of weeks and we've no football for the WSL. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's get the win. And yeah, make sure, as Andreas rightly says, that North London stays red. It always has been red. And I'm sure it will always be red. So regardless of what happens Sunday, it will still be red. But let's make sure it's definitely red, and there can be no argument. Go out and win that game. So yeah, lots to look forward to this weekend, of course, as always. A North London derby is always a big big event, isn't it? And it's a big crowd, which is good. 170 Gunner says international break again. Well, there hasn't been one for a little while, actually, for the women, has there? It's been a little while since the last one. Bearing in mind, we're building up to the Euros in the summer. They need to be playing games. I've got no problem with that, actually, to be fair. I think it's a good time to have an international break. So I don't really mind it too much. And there's a couple of good games coming up. I'm a little bit concerned about the squad, as I said, but let's get the games played. Greg says we need to get them back to Arsenal. Oh yeah, because Greg says Rennes fans. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right to a certain degree. I think some people are Rennes fans, but we should just be supporting the team at the minute, because it's a big point in the season. It's a big time, isn't it? Coming up after this international break, we have got some big games. The Champions League's back. The Real Madrid game, well, looking forward to the 2 legs there. We've got the FA Cup quarter-final against Liverpool. We've got some big WSL games. We've got to keep winning to stay in that top 3. So, yeah, this is where it all matters, isn't it? This is where we're going to see, aren't we? Renee's had her audition. She had some nice games in her first, 3 months in the job. Now, this is where it really counts. Every single game now is a must win, or certainly a not lose. So let's see what she's about. Let's see what this group's about. And then at the end of the season, we can then reflect on it all and say, you know what? Renee's putting us in a good position. She's moving us in the right direction. No problem. If it's not, we have to have that conversation. The club probably won't, but we certainly can. But at the minute, I'm not overly... I've got a few more doubts now than I had a few weeks ago. But let's see. We've got some massive games to come. But let's go into this international break on a high. Let's beat Tottenham, as we usually do, and then we can enjoy the week off from the WSL, can't we? Now, of course, we don't get much time off, do we? On this channel, there's so much going on. I'm probably not going to be around to do the men's game tomorrow. The early kickoffs are no good for me, really, on a Saturday. I'm playing football in the morning. By the time I get back, it's going to be a rush. I probably won't be able to settle down until the second half anyway. So I'm probably not going to bother with a watch-along, unfortunately, tomorrow. But that's just a kickoff time. Sorry, guys. I will be here, of course, on Sunday for the women's game. Well, I say that. I'm doing a 10K race in the morning. But I should be back by about 12 o'clock if I finish quite well. So I'm going to have to run a bit faster. Get home for about 12 o'clock. So I should be okay for that game. For the women's game, I'll definitely be here at some point. This might be a bit later, but I should be here for kickoff anyway for Sunday. So join me for that. Obviously, a North London derby. Next week, of course, we've got the Lionesses, so we'll probably do them games if we get a chance to do that as well. That's going to be good, isn't it? And of course, we've got more exciting stuff to come. Of course, next weekend, next Friday, we will be back with a women's show, looking back on the North London derby and the international games. We've got a new guest joining us on the show next week as well, so that's going to be good. I'm sure you'll make them very, very welcome. And then, of course, we'll be getting back into it again. So it's all happening, isn't it, on the channel? It's all happening. So please like, share, and subscribe. Terry says, "Don't worry, I've checked out on the men's team now." Well, yeah, I must admit, I've lost a lot of my enthusiasm for it. I mean, I will watch the game. I'm probably not going to get home until right on kickoff tomorrow. Just coming back from football, I need something to eat. I need to kind of chill a bit. So I probably won't actually settle until the second half. So I've had something to eat and stuff. So yeah, I'll watch the game, but I won't be able to do much else. But we'll see. And I mean, I might do a post-match reaction show maybe some point tomorrow afternoon. I'll see. I might do that instead. Actually, that might be about maybe get Neil on if he's around. Shall we? See if Neil's around. We can have a little chat about the game maybe. I'll see if I can sort that out. Anyways, have a look on the channel. I'll put it on if it is. Otherwise, I'll definitely be a Sunday, of course, for the North London derby. That's going to be great, isn't it? So yeah, it was a bit of a different show tonight, wasn't it? You know, no Andreas here. Obviously, Ange was very busy with her daughter. Let's hope that she's feeling a lot better. So unfortunately, Ange couldn't be with us as well. But we managed to get a show together for you. You enjoyed it. We did go through all of the subjects. Thank you for all your comments, as always. Thanks to Andreas, of course, for his video contribution as well. As always, we do love Andreas to send his videos in when he can't be with us. And of course, if you are at the game on Sunday, if you are at the Emirates or if you're in the Tollington or the Coronet, wherever you are, and you do see Andreas, you can't miss him. He's the tallest German that you'll find in London on Sunday. Do say hello to Andreas. He does love to meet you. He's met a few of you guys at the games before. He does love to say hello. He is the big friendly giant, so he's fine. And you never know, maybe Gunnosaurus might appear in a vlog as well, and that'll be coming up as well. So there'll be a great vlog for you coming up either Sunday or Monday at some stage. So look out for that, because that is going to be good, as it always is. Looking forward to that. And yeah, so yeah, thanks to Andreas for his contributions. I say we'll be back more of a normal show next week. Andreas will be here. I say we've got a special guest next week, a new panelist who may well become a regular. We'll have to see. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. Joe says, good night, Bruce's and Sheila's. A good show. No, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for your comments, as always. This is what makes this show, really, doesn't it? You guys, really, with your comments and stuff, you like to get involved. We love you to get involved as well. Vicky says, we'll be looking for Andreas. Yeah, have a look out for him. I say you can't really miss him, to be fair. You know, when you see him, you'll notice him, put it that way. Greg says, a dinosaur interviewing a dinosaur. No, Andreas isn't a dinosaur. But hopefully we'll get Gunnosaurus on again, because we do love a bit of Gunnosaurus on the vlogs, don't we? Which will be good. Greg says, watching the men only puts you down till Sunday comes. Well, yeah, it can do. It can do. And obviously with the news lately it's coming out, the injury news and stuff like that, well, it's not good news at all, is it, really? But anyway, I'm sure we'll beat Leicester tomorrow. I'm sure we will. And I'll see if I can get some sort of show together. Ag says, the winner takes it all. Indeed, the winner does take it all. That's football for you, isn't it? Sport. The winner takes it all. First is everywhere. Second is nowhere. That is how it is, I'm afraid. That is sport. And that's the way it is. Terry says, oh, great weekend, Richard, Greg, and Joe, and my favourite Phil Aggie. Egg says, thanks for tonight, everyone. And yourself, yeah, thank you for joining us. You have some Grat was with us as well. And we're looking forward, of course, to the big game on Sunday. We're sort of looking forward to the men's game tomorrow a little bit, aren't we? So I should get to watch most of it, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, of course, because it's really important. It does help the channel. Even if you haven't liked it, just give us a like anyway, because it's free. You might as well. So yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, I'll be back on. I'll say there may be a show tomorrow at some point, looking back on the Leicester game, if I can get Neil out of bed and get him to come join me for that one. Otherwise, we're definitely back Sunday for the game. Greg says, night chat, thanks Rich, night chat. And yourself, my friend, take it easy. The weekend can officially start, as we always say on a Friday. At the end of this show is the start of your weekend. It's Valentine's night as well, so whatever you're doing, enjoy. I probably don't know what you're doing, actually. Terry says, see you all Sunday, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Indeed, please do that. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to everybody that celebrates that kind of stuff. So enjoy your evening, enjoy the start of your weekend. Let's hope the men don't spoil it too much for you tomorrow afternoon. I hope not. I say Sunday. We know the women are, whatever happens tomorrow, the women are going to cheer us up Sunday, aren't they? They are going to make a great end to the weekend, as always. So join us for that. I'll be about 12:15 if I run fast on Sunday morning. So I'll have to. Hopefully, the wind will be with me, so I can run a bit quicker. I can get home quicker, and get prepared for the show. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, thank you for watching tonight. Thank you to Andreas for the videos. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Enjoy your Friday. The weekend is officially here, so enjoy, and we will see you very, very soon. Come on, you Gunners, let's do it. This big weekend, North London is going to be red. Of course it is. What else would it be? See you Sunday, guys.